Self-determination. Rise up, African nation. Kujichagulia, accomplish what you will. A new world we must build. Kujichagulia, self-determination. Rise up, African nation. Kujichagulia, accomplish what you will. A new world we must build. We must define, name, and create, and we must speak for ourselves. That holy power belongs with no one else. The life of truth and justice for our community requires Kujichagulia from you and me. Kujichagulia, self-determination. Rise up, African nation. Kujichagulia, accomplish what you will. A new world we must build. We must define, name, and create, and we must free our minds and work together diligently to overthrow all strife. The life of peace and harmony and true prosperity requires Kujichagulia from you and me. Kujichagulia, self-determination. Rise up, African nation. Kujichagulia, accomplish what you will. A new world we must build. We must define, name, and create. We must free our minds and work together diligently to overthrow all strife. The life of peace and harmony and true prosperity requires Kujichagulia from you and me. Kujichagulia, self-determination. Rise up, African nation. Kujichagulia, accomplish what you will. A new world we must build. A new world we must build. A new world we must build. Kujichagulia. 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 Oh yeah, that was cool.
Greetings, greetings. In the book of Rising and Transformation in the Hosea, it says, "How beautiful to behold and how wonderful to witness. So say the powers of heaven, when this royal vindicated one rises in the sky. When you, O vindicated one, ascend in the sky with your power upon you, your awe around you, and your words of power at your feet. The power of heaven and earth come to you. They make supports for you upon their arms. May you ascend unto the sky and rise up in it on the divine ladder. For Ra says, the heaven and earth are given to you. Behold, you have become the enduring bull among the wild bulls, set against the evil one. Endure and last, O enduring bull, that you may prevail at the head of them and at the head of the spirits forever and ever. Ashe. Welcome today to Wose Community Church, the community of the way. The way is Maat, truth, justice, and righteousness. We believe the teachings of our elders and our ancestors that the Creator God have created the universe and all life and has placed in each of us a part of the divine spirit. God living through in us and through us has given us the right and the power to establish peace and justice in all human life and true harmony with all of creation. Our way is not a random path. Our way begins with coherent understanding. It is a way that aims of preserving knowledge of who we are. It is with this conviction that we study the rich heritage of our African people. The way is reciprocity. The way is wholeness. The way is unity and self-determination. It is creativity, collective work, and responsibility. Our way is faith, purpose, and cooperative economics. The way knows no oppression. Our way creates. Our way worships and praises the God of our ancestors. The way is life, and the way only destroys destruction. Welcome, welcome, welcome to one and all, to all friends, to all family, to all associates, to everyone who has joined us here today. Welcome to Wose Community Church. So now it is time for our announcements, and I don't have any announcements. Minister Imhotep, do you have announcements?
Yes, I have a couple of announcements, and let me announcements. Do you guys need to know anything? I mean, I'm just kidding. All right, so
That'll be good.
What do we have to announce? Let's see. I did have some announcements. Where'd they go? Hold tight. They're here somewhere. All right. Just a few. And if you have some, please add on. Yes, go ahead, Gloria. Go ahead.
Well, I would like to make an announcement that the Music Ministry Commission is looking for artists who would like to share their work and their spirit with the Wose community during services. Please leave your contact in the chat. I think we had a flyer, but I don't know how long ago it's been put out. But our list, we need people on our list to be able to contact and have you share your artistry and your spirit with Wose. All right, so please leave your name and contact information in the chat if you're so inclined to do so. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Brother Damani, you sent this in an email, and this is regarding our fundraiser. Let's see. This is it here. It's part of it. Can you go into that, Brother Damani?
Okay, yeah, this is a fundraiser that Sister Katrina found for us. It's and I've been using it. It works pretty good. It's called Raise Right, and you can go on their website and on the I'll read it right quick. Join 50,000 plus nonprofit. Let me grab my page over here. Join 50,000 plus nonprofits who fundraise the easy way. It's the #1 fundraising vehicle in the USA, hands down. Wose community, Wose Sacramento, it's our enrollment code is right there. And you simply Google the Raise Right, Google Raise Right and put in the above code. And after enrolling, you can download the download the app to your smartphone. Now, how the gift card fundraising works. Gift card fundraising, also known as script fundraising, has been the #1 fundraising for nonprofit organizations across the United States for 25 years. Why? Because it's easy and more convenient than selling goods or recruiting volunteers. You earn simply by buying gift cards or e-gift cards, what I've been using, available immediate to use for everyday purchase instead of cash or credit cards. And so it's a no-brainer to me. Is there are no meetings, no setup. It's an easy year-round fundraiser that doesn't require families to spend any additional money. Okay, and yeah, right there it say Black-owned businesses. We can use the Visa e-gift card. I checked into that. That's no, the e-gift Visa card is just for special stores and participating outlets. So that won't work for Black-owned businesses. Anyway, and it's going down to the bottom. Example of earnings: nearly all airlines, hotels, restaurants. Nearly all airlines, hotels, restaurants, fuel and gas stations, grocery stores, department stores, national chains participate across the country. And here goes some examples. Like I just ordered $100 Bel Air gift card. You know, Bel Air's down the street from me, so when I get my groceries, that's 4% off. 4% goes back to Wozay Community Church. And so last week I used AutoZone. We got 7% back. I used Jiffy Lube. I went to Jiffy Lube, spent $100 getting my oil change, and it was $100. So 8% went back to Wozay. And so I also used it that had to get some stuff from Walmart. Anyway, I think what I did this past couple of weeks raised $14 fundraising for Wozay. So I'm just encouraging people to check it out. I sent out another flyer, Minister Imhotep, with the note that you can check the tutor. You can check the YouTube tutor. If you want to look into it, just go to Raise Right YouTube on Raise Right and check out the tutor how to use it. Trust me, it's very easy to use, and you can use it. You know, grocery store. We all buy groceries, so and we all got to get gasoline in our cars, and so this is a very easy fundraiser in our everyday purchases. So I just wanted to share with this. You know, Katrina really had a brilliant idea. Anyway, that's all it. So I ask everybody to check it out. Go to the fundraising, Google Raise Right and check it out. And it's over 750 stores and corporations across the country who will participate.
Let me go back to
So
that
also, I
enrollment
believe,
enrollment code. So that's the enrollment code. If everyone could copy that enrollment code, CSU 91FXX9DLF.
Minister Imhotep, I think you can also get to it from the Wozay SAC
Yes.
website as well.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning that as well. All right. Were there another? Did someone else have an announcement?
Yes. Good morning, family. This is Tandy Way. I put 2 links in the chat. One is for our services next week. I am presenting the historical tribute, and it's regarding food from Africa to America and the influence that African food has on American cuisine. And we're also catering for that day. So many of the food groups that I'll be talking about, we would have the opportunity to eat them after service. So if you're in the Sacramento area and Bay Area, please join us. Unfortunately, we don't have smell-o-zoom, so you can't smell the aromas of what we're going to do, but I'm really trying to make it more of an experience And I welcome everybody to join us and tell a friend. And additionally, I put a link of we're raising funds. My son was accepted into a study abroad program to Ghana this summer, and we're raising funds to help him do so. So thank you.
All right, thank you. AJ, I'm just sending you this in I'm sending you that information in your email. I just did that. Okay, there's just one more thing I would like to announce. I thought that this was great. Of course, I need to find it. Oh, here it is. I thought this was great. At the African Marketplace, the Sojourner Truth Museum, they have a billboard, and I thought this so. I haven't seen this personally, but I saw where Shona had posted this. So there's a billboard. I'm assuming that is close by 2251 Florin in South Sacramento. All right. Okay, Minister Alicia, let's continue on with the service, unless there's something else that we should be thinking about, talking about, doing something about. This was a good idea. Mama in Guinea came to one of our meetings, and she suggested that we do this, that we instead of having the announcements at the end when people are leaving, to have it like in the middle of the service. So I think it's a great idea. More people are here to view it. All right.
Well, sure. Thank you, Minister Imhotep, for the announcements and those who contributed to our knowledge of what is going on in our area. So next we will have the affirmations by Baba Ustadi and Mama Celeste.
Greetings, everyone.
Greetings.
Good morning.
We will know God's truth to be free and self-determined.
Creator, help us to remember the humanity, glory, and suffering of our ancestors, and to honor the struggles of our elders.
Let us strive to bring new vision and life to our people. Let there be peace and harmony among us.
Let us be loving, sharing, and creative. Let us work, study, and listen, so we may learn, teach, and cultivate self-reliance.
Grant us power, O Holy One, as we struggle to resurrect our hearts and our homeland.
We will raise our children according to the needs of our nation, with discipline, patience, devotion, and courage. We will strive to be the living models of the new direction of our people.
We are an African people.
We are children of God.
Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.
Ashe. Thank you, Baba Ustadi and Mama Celeste, for the reading of our affirmations. And now Baba Jeff will come with the song.
Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, oh. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, oh. If you want to live a good life, the good life, the way is Maat. If you want to live a good life, the good life, the way is Maat. If you want to live a good life, the good life, the way is Maat. If you want to live a good life, the good life, the road is Maat. Truth, justice, and righteousness, reciprocity and beauty, peace, balance, and harmony is the way it should be. Truth, justice and righteousness, reciprocity and beauty, peace, balance, and harmony. That's the way it should be. If you want to live a good life, the good life, the way is my out. If you want to live a good life, the good life, the road is my out. If you want to live a good life, the good life, the way is my out. If you want to live a good life, the good life, the road is my out. So much trouble in the world today. So many have lost the way. Read, study, listen to the wise. We want to live the good life with purpose and devotion, intention and discipline, with faith and unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility is the key. If you want to live the good life, the good life, the way is my out. If you want to live the good life, the good life, the way is my out. If you want to live a good life, the good life, the way is my out. If you want to live a good life, the good life, the road is my out. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, oh. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, oh. Truth, justice, and righteousness, reciprocity and beauty, peace, balance, and harmony is the way it should be. Truth, justice, and righteousness, reciprocity and beauty, peace, balance, and harmony. That's the way it's got to be. The good life, the good life, the way is my out. If you want to live a good life, the good life, the way is my out. If you want to live a good life, the good life, the way is my out. If you want to live a good life, the good life, the road is my out.
I say.
Ashe.
That was tough. That was
just
tough.
like,
Want to live the good life.
it is
Yes,
the
I.
thing I'm saying, like, when it's a good song, like the announcement, I'm like, yes.
Yes, yes.
Like, he's speaking my language. I'm like, I'm loving it. Okay, let me calm down. So now that we've got our blood moving and everybody,
Inside, inside.
man, that's a, yeah, Most High bless that song, definitely. Thank you, Sister Gloria, and thank you for playing the song. That song, this will ring in your head all the whole entire week, and you could be just chilling, driving your car, and all of a sudden, it's good life. It's a good life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're gonna have the historical tribute by Minister Imhotep. Yeah, and I'm excited to hear that.
Right. I'm not really going to do the historical tribute. Actually, we're going to play a video of Brother John Jackson. And he's going to do it. He's going to do the historical tribute today. And it's recommended to me by Minister Bill. And John did such a fantastic job. Check it.
Let me start by saying that as I've been coming into the knowledge of so much history I didn't know or simply didn't pay attention to as I was growing up, gotta say it comes with a myriad of emotions. As the Honorable Marcus Garvey said, a people without the knowledge of their past history, origins, culture, is like a tree without roots. As I learn more, I feel the roots of my true identity emerging and growing. With that being said, in the year 1767, a child was born into a life sentence of enslavement on the island of St. Thomas, then a colony of Denmark, but now the U.S. Virgin Islands. That child would grow up to become a person of historical significance. 14 years later, in 1781, that same child would grab the attention of Captain Joseph Vesey, a slave trader, who had that year took on board his slave ship a cargo of 390 enslaved Africans. The captain made this 14-year-old boy either a cabin boy or, as some would say, their little black pet. They gave him new clothes and named him Telemaque. He was then sold to a farmer in Saint Dominique, a French colony from 1659 to 1804 on the Caribbean island of Hispaniola, the island that now hosts two countries, the Dominican Republic and Haiti. On Vesey's next trip to Cape Francis, Vesey was told that Telemaque would have to be returned to him because the boy had epileptic fits and was deemed defective merchandise. Being a clever young African, I believe he faked those epileptic fits to get from under the thumb of this new oppressor and back to, shall we say, the lesser of two evils. Telemaque never again showed any signs of epilepsy as he traveled the world with Captain Vesey, educating himself and learning to speak various languages until eventually Captain Vesey, along with his personal servant Telemaque, settled in Charleston, South Carolina in 1783. As the years progressed, Telemaque became a skilled carpenter. His skill as a carpenter would one day afford him the opportunity to participate in the Charleston East Bay Street Lottery. After the colonies won the war against the British, the new states leaned heavily on lotteries to raise revenue because they were not eager to tax a people who had just rebelled against taxation by the British. Lotteries became the alternative for a while. But on Friday, November 8th, 1799, the city treasurer drew the lottery number 1884 from the Wheel of Fortune for a grand prize of $1,500. This number, we now know, had been purchased by the enslaved man Telemaque. Apparently, during that time in Charleston's early development, it was a familiar arrangement in urban Charleston to allow enslaved workers to make a little money from time to time. Telemaque probably raised the money using his carpentry skills to purchase the $6 ticket. Even so, I can't help but think that giving $1,500 to a slave probably met with some reluctance and controversy we may never know about. But whatever the case, the brother got paid. Telemaque immediately negotiated with his owners for his freedom in the amount of $600, and by December, Telemaque was a free man. After securing his freedom, Telemaque changed his name to Denmark Vesey. Unfortunately, Denmark was unable to secure the freedom of his wife and children, even though he became a successful carpenter. Slave owners were not under any obligation to free slaves, even if they were offered compensation. I imagine that didn't sit well with Brother Denmark. With his freedom and the thriving carpentry business, Denmark Vesey became a leading figure in Charleston's black community. In 1818, he was one of the co-founders of the Hampstead Church, which broke away from the Methodist Episcopal Church, a white church. This was part of a larger movement of blacks forming their own churches in the South to have the freedom to worship as they saw fit. This church would become Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church. It's the church that on that fateful day in June, the 17th of June, 2015, Dylan Roof, a deranged 21-year-old hate-filled white supremacist, massacred 9 church members. But back to the story. Veazey quickly became a leader at the church. He preached to small groups at his home, teaching them spiritual lessons. The white community, however, in Charleston was alarmed by the presence of what they called the African church and continuously disrupted services and tried to undermine it. This angered Veazey, and his preaching became more radical and militant. He told his people they were the new Israelites, the people chosen by God to be freed from enslavement and empowered to punish their masters. Soon, Veazey was using the church gatherings to plot and plan a slave revolt. It's not hard to imagine the anger he must have felt, seeing his people being treated as chattel and realizing that his own freedom stood on dangerous ground. Though numbers vary, the consensus is that during that time it's believed that Charleston was 70% black and 30% white. That's an interesting statistic that raises questions in my mind that would be interesting conversation for another time. But for several years, Denmark was constantly and diligently engaged in highlighting the injustices committed against the African population in and around the state of South Carolina. He familiarized himself with all those parts of the scriptures to prove that slavery was contrary to the laws of God and that slaves were bound to attempt their emancipation, however shocking and bloody consequences be. He not only claimed that such efforts would be pleasing to the Almighty, but that their success was predicted in the scriptures. Denmark Veazey's inspiration to free the slaves in Charleston was the successful slave uprising of 1791, which resulted in St. Dominique becoming the independent nation of Haiti in 1804. He preached to the people, urging them to break free from slavery. He gathered many followers. He planned the uprising with the help of Ned and Rolla Bennett. Ned Bennett was the trusted slave of South Carolina Governor Thomas Bennett. Rolla Bennett routinely took charge of the governor's household during his absences. Peter Poyas, a ship's carpenter, and Gullah Jack, an African spiritualist and abolitionist, were also Denmark's comrades in the rebellion. He managed to secure the support of both slaves and free blacks who agreed to support the cause and be part of the rebellion. The plan was to be executed at midnight on Bastille Day, July 14, 1822, with enslaved blacks numbering around 9,000. They planned to kill the slave owners, free the slaves, and set sail to Haiti. Almost every plantation in Charleston had joined Veazey's rebellion. They organized the revolt in separate cells under individual leaders. That way, if anyone betrayed the plot, they would only betray their own plantation cell and not the others. The plan was that the rebels would station themselves outside of the homes of the slave owners, and late at night, a group of them would start a fire. When the slave owners came out of their homes, the slaves would kill them with axes, guns, or whatever weapons they could find. They would then, just like Nat Turner did, go into the homes and kill all its occupants. However, in June of 1822, just before the uprising was to take place, the plan was leaked by 2 slaves loyal to their masters. The revolt was betrayed by a slave named George Wilson, who knew the entire plot. Like Veazey, George Wilson was a class leader in the African Methodist Episcopal Church, but he followed the Christian doctrine of loving one's neighbor and was devoted to his master. Immediately, the city leaders alerted the authorities, and Veazey and 46 other blacks and 4 whites were indicted in the plot. After a lengthy trial, 43 slaves were deported and 35 were hanged. Veazey was condemned to death along with Rolla, Poas, and 3 other slaves on the morning of July 2nd, 1822. Veazey was hung. As an aftermath, life became more difficult for the slaves. The state passed new restrictions on movements of black slaves and prevented the entry of free blacks in the city. Denmark Vesey was remembered well into the First Civil War. Remember Denmark Vesey of Charleston became the war cry of the 1st Black Regiment of the Civil War. However, the details of the uprising were greatly underplayed by the slave owners and the authorities. Denmark Vesey, the slave rebellion leader, a symbol of the resistance of the enslaved, was gradually pushed into oblivion.
Wow, that was amazing.
Yes.
Ashe, that was great.
Amazing.
Wasn't that good? We need to call John and say, hey, that was top ranking. That's the way you do it. So we've had 2 great things. A great video by Sister Glow and great video by Brother John. All right, I'm going to stop talking. Minister Alicia, go ahead.
Well, give thanks to Brother John for giving us that wonderful historical tribute. And now we're going to have the litany with Sister Michelle and Baba Damani.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, that was a beautiful historical tribute, Brother John. Yeah, time in our service where we pay our bills and make sure our two spiritual centers stay financially solvent. As I like to say, at time we get to practice Yajima, collective work and responsibility. Here we go. Litany of sacrifice. Save us, O Holy One, by your name. Vindicate us by your might. Hear my prayer, divine protector. Listen to the words of my mouth. How can we repay the Holy One for the gifts that have been given to us? We will lift up the cup of salvation and call upon the God of our ancestors. We will fulfill our vows to our Creator in the presence of all our people. Gladly, we bring our sacrifices to you. We praise your name, O Amen Ra, for it is good. Okay, you just saw before that the different ways you could send in your contribution. Personally, I use PayPal, but you could use snail mail, or you can use going to the 2 websites, Wose Sacramento website and the Wose Oakland website, and send in your contribution. And like I say, personally, I use PayPal. Okay, Emoja, unity. We should strive to maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race.
Kujichagulia, self-determination. We shall define, name, create, and speak for ourselves.
Yajima, collective work and responsibility. We should build and maintain our communities together. Our brothers and sisters' problems shall be ours to solve together.
Ujamaa, cooperative economics. Together we shall build and maintain our own businesses and together profit from them.
Nia, purpose. We shall make our collective vocation, the building and developing of our community and the restoration of our people to our traditional greatness.
Kuumba, creativity. We shall do as much as we can in any way we can to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than when we inherited it.
Imani, faith. We will believe with all our hearts in our God, our people.
And in the righteousness and victory of our struggle. Ashe.
Ashe.
And just to let everybody know, the website address listed on the screen in front of you for Sacramento has a slight error. Our WOSE address on via internet, www.wosesac.org. So please try to ignore the com and remember it's wosesac.org. Thank you. And if we could just bow our heads for a moment in prayer.
in prayer for our giving today. O Mother, Father, God, she who is of the Most High, the maker of all that is and shall be, the giver of all our needs, the knower of what is beyond truth. We are here today as individuals and as a community to give and share what we have and to give some of our dollars to Wose Community Church, to its school, Ili Omide, to its commissions, all these things that make Wose Community Church, make it the community of the sacred African way that helps to make our lives sacred in our way of Maat. Truth, justice, righteousness, giving, that reciprocity completes the circle for our way of life. Our giving should be determined by our daily reflections, by our meditation. For reflection is the seed of second chances. Meditation is the prose of our future actions. Coming to see what we have done in the past, coming to determine what we need to do for the future, all of that leads to the communal giving, the individual giving that makes us know what Wose is. I don't think I need to name all the things that Wose gives us every week, every day, but I do want to talk about just one thing. When our ministers recognize us, when they see us, when we get that hug at the in-person sessions. Yes, I know Wose brings us so many things, but sometimes recognition about who we are, about what we've done, the changes that we have made in our life, so that our life has a rhythm with the 7 principles, with the virtues of the sacred African way. Those things should be recognized. And we in turn should find a way to give back for those personal moments that we get with our ministers. And giving money to support Wose Community Church is one of those ways. Think a moment about those daily reflections, for they include your faith, your desires, and your needs. Your need for God and what you receive through Wose Community Church is priceless. But all that we ask is that you support the church so that it has the walls, the roofs, the floor, the sound of the music that we all want, the home for our ministers to come and practice their craft. That is what the giving is for. Thank you for those that gave today, that will give via mail, that will give via internet, that will give of their time as well as their money. Thank you all for that. Amen. Ashe. Amen Ra.
Ashe. Thank you, Sister Michelle and Baba Damani for the litany. And now we're going to have another song played by Baba Jeff.
Yeah, Abadi Gani, Umoja, Abadi Gani, Fuji Chagulia, that's right, Abadi Gani, Ujima, come on now, Abadi Gani, Ujima, that's right, Abadi Gani, Dia, Abadi Gani, Kumba, Dio, Abadi Gani, Imani, yeah. When we say Abadi Gani, say I Nakumba na imani all the 7 days a week at Kwanzaa time. Say it again now. Umoja kuji chagulia. Alright. Ujima ujima. Mia Nakumba na imani all the 7 days a week at Kwanzaa time. Yeah. I'm gonna remember the principles that guide my life. In Guzo Samba, I'm gonna remember the 7 things that I live by. In Guzo Samba, in Guzo Samba, Oja Kuji Chagulia, Ujima Ujima, Nia Nakumba na imani all the 7 days a week at Kwanzaa time. Dr. Ben and Dr. Jeffries, Mother McKenya, Dr. Ben and Dr. Chris Wilson, we wanna thank you once again at Kwanzaa time. Every brother called Atiba, every sister named Sheba. Not only them, but also our ancestors get sequestered with us at Kwanzaa time. Say Umoja Kuji Chagulia, Ujima Ujima, Nia Nakumba na imani all the 7 days a week at Kwanzaa time. Yeah, I'm gonna remember the principles that guide my life. In Guzo Samba, we gonna remember the 7 things that we live by. In Guzo Samba, now you can buy us presents, but we'd rather have something that you made with your own hands. Individualism will not overstand, cause my family's happy and we're fine at Kwanzaa time. Yeah, I'm gonna remember the principles that guide my life. In Guzo Samba, I'm gonna remember the 7 things that I live by. In Guzo Samba, we gonna remember the principles that guide our life. In Guzo Samba, we gonna remember the 7 things that we live by. Hey, in Guzo Samba, in Guzo Samba, in Guzo Samba, in Guzo Samba, hey, in Guzo Samba, Umoja Kuji Chagulia, Ujima Ujima, Nia Nakumba na imani all the 7 days a week at Kwanzaa time. Yeah, say it again, baby. In Guzo Samba, in Guzo Samba, last time. In Guzo Samba.
Ashe.
Yes.
We've been so musically blessed today because I mean the jams are coming. The jams are coming. They're not stopping. They are not stopping. So I
Gotta
just want
love Brother Rudy.
yes.
Yeah.
I tell you, it's beautiful the jams that we have experienced today.
Thanks again, Brother Jeff. Grand Rising won't say, Grand Rising. I'm really glad to be back home. Back in March, I got into Atlanta, visited Mama Nabantu, and finally met her daughter, Damali. Though we just met, Damali's long been a part of our family in East Palo Alto. And she's long known our East Palo Alto leaders, like Mama Keisha and Mama Tanduwe. Like me, she was there getting reacquainted with old friends at a conference. It was really good to see Mama Nabantu, Mama Okanona, and Baba Mahib again at First Africa. This time, I took a special note of one speaker at First African who came forward to remind the people of proposed city council actions, of how those actions would affect the First African community, and remind them of the actions First African must take for their own best outcomes. Page 46 of the Hosea tells us, "Be not silent when it's your duty to speak." That connection made at First African, that clarification, that bridge between family and neighbors, between ideals and practices, is what I need to speak on today. Life's often really complex and confusing for every one of us. The size of the world and the diversity often exceeds our understanding. And in spite of our efforts, our understandings are not predictive and not always well aligned with our peers. Combining with others, we can easily combine our complexity and confusion. And worse, as historically true of Europeans, opponents see exacerbating the complexities and confusion, feeding the chaos and disorder as an opportunity to replace our order with their own self-serving order. And we'll say we're drawn back to our basic virtues. We must control our thoughts. We must control our actions. As we're flooded with opponents' messages and media compounding confusion, we rightly seek the collective wisdom of our African families and our African communities to help us surmount that weakness in individuality. So when First African speaker came forward to clarify which political actions to take, she stood not as a self-serving politician recruiting for their own pockets. She stood as the community's designated leader, reporting back on what best served her community. When it was her duty to speak, she was not silent. She was clear and compelling. Just as individuals think by neurons communicating, so our communities think by our people communicating. Our sister church took control of their thoughts by designating someone to study and speak on the issues, thus took control of their actions by first thinking clearly among themselves. Though we strive to think clearly, we're often swimming upstream in a flood of competing objectives. Those objectives muddy the waters and make clarity a real challenge. To illustrate some of the subtleties of that challenge, we can look at the words of America's one visibly African president, Barack Obama. Before he was president, he wrote, "Rafik and I formed an uneasy alliance, one that didn't go over too well with the other leaders. I understood their concerns. Rafik would interrupt discussions with long lectures about secret machinations afoot and all the Black people willing to sell their people down the river. Undercover brother. It was an effective negotiating ploy. For with his voice progressively rising, his veins in his neck straining, others would suddenly drop into a curious silence, watching Rafik as if he were in the midst of a seizure. More than once, I'd have to jump in and start shouting back at him, not so much in anger, as simply to slow him down. And finally, a small smile would curl under his mustache, and we could get back to work. Alone, though, Rafik and I sometimes have normal conversations. Over time, I arrived at a grudging admiration for his tenacity and bravado, and within his own terms, a certain sincerity. He confirmed that he had been a gang leader. He had found religion, he said, under the stewardship of a local Muslim leader unaffiliated with the Nation of Islam. He said, if it hadn't been for Islam, I'd probably be dead. He had a negative attitude. Growing up, I'd soaked up all the poison the white man feeds us. See, the folks you're working with got the same problem. And even though they don't realize it yet, they spend half their lives worrying about what white folks think, start blaming themselves for what they see every day, thinking they can't do no better till a white man decides they all right. But deep down, they know that ain't right. They know what this country has done to their mama, their daddy, their sister. So the truth is, they hate white folks, but they just can't admit it to themselves, keep it bottled up, fighting themselves, wasting a lot of energy that way. I tell you one thing, this is again Rafik speaking in Obama's narrative. I tell you one thing I admire about white folks. They know who they are. Look at the Italians. They didn't care about the American flag and all that when they got here. First thing they did is put together the mafia to make sure their interests were met. The Irish, they took over City Hall and found their boys' jobs. The Jews, same thing. You telling me they care more about some black kid on the South Side than they do about their relatives in Israel? It's about blood, Barack. Looking after your own, period. Black people, the only ones stupid enough to worry about their enemies. Wait a second, we'll say. Think on this. Obama had already been the editor of the Harvard Law Review. So what is this we're reading? No less than our beloved elder, Toni Morrison, had publicly called him quite a good writer. But we're faced with this truth. Writing is high art. And here Obama is being duly artful. Even if Obama was in sync with every word Rafik said, his political aspirations demanded he call their alliance uneasy, demanded he paint Rafik as a conspiracy theorist. To secure white votes, Obama was obliged to package the specter of black hate as something Rafik believed, but he did not. You and I know white fear of black hate is really white fear of a just correction. He rephrased Rafik's characterization as quote unquote hate, instead of making white voters uncomfortable by calling it more than earned distrust. He put all that tribalism, gangs, and crime on Rafik, cast Rafik as an emotional bully he had to calm down so he could comfort white voters by disavowing that straw man pattern. Let's get back into a little bit more of Obama's writing. That was the truth as Rafik saw it, and he didn't waste energy picking that truth apart. His was a Hobbesian world where distrust was given and loyalties extended from family to mosque to the black race, whereupon notions of loyalty ceased to apply. This narrowing vision of blood and tribe had provided him with clarity of sorts, a means of focusing his attention. Black self-respect had delivered the mayor's seat, just as Black self-respect turned around the lives of drug addicts under the tutelage of the Muslim. Progress was within our grasp as long as we didn't betray ourselves. But exactly what constituted betrayal, Obama said. Ever since the first time I picked up Malcolm X's biography, I had tried to untangle the twin strands of Black nationalism, arguing that nationalism's affirming message of solidarity and self-reliance, discipline and communal responsibility need not depend on hatred of whites any more than it depended on white munificence. We could tell this country where it was wrong, I would tell myself, and any Black friends who would listen, without ceasing to believe in its capacity for change. In talking to self-professed nationalists like Rafik, though, I came to see how the blanket indictment of everything white served a central function in their message of uplift, how psychologically at least, one depended on the other. But when the nationalist spoke of a reawakening of values as the only solution to Black poverty, he was expressing an implicit, if not explicit, criticism to Black listeners, that we did not have to live as we did. And while there were those who could take such an unadorned message and use it to hew out a new life for themselves, those with the stolid dispositions that Booker T. Washington once demanded, in the ears of many Black folk, such talk smacked of the explanations whites had always offered for Black poverty. That we continue to suffer from, if not genetic inferiority, then cultural weakness. It was a message that ignored causality or fault, a message outside history without a script or plot that might insist on progression. For a people already stripped of their history, a people often ill-equipped to retrieve history in any form than what fluttered across the television screen, the testimony of what we saw every day seemed only to confirm our worst suspicions about ourselves. Nationalism provided that history, an unambiguous morality tale that was easily communicated and easily grasped. A steady attack on the white race, Constant recitation of Black people's brutal experience in this country served as ballast that could prevent the ideas of personal and communal responsibility from tipping into an ocean of despair. Yes, the nationalists would say, whites are responsible for your sorry state, not any inherent flaws in you. In fact, whites are so heartless and devious that we can no longer expect anything from them. The self-loathing you feel, what keeps you drinking or thieving, is planted by them. Rid them from your mind and fine-tune power liberated. Rise up, ye mighty race. This process of displacement, this means of engaging in self-criticism while removing ourselves from the object of criticism, helped explain the much admired success of the Nation of Islam in turning around the lives of addicts and criminals. But if it was especially well suited to those at the bottom rungs of American life, it also spoke to all the continuing doubts of the lawyer who had run hard for the gold ring, yet still experienced the awkward silence when walking into the clubhouse. Those young college students who wearily measured the distance between them and life on Chicago's mean streets. That's a mouthful. Obama's a little wordy here. But we'll say, you know what I just read. That was Obama flashing his black card, referencing Malcolm's autobiography, dissing Booker T. Washington while acknowledging his success, and then quoting Garvey's "Up Ye Mighty Race." He even rang a bell of sympathy for high-achieving Africans who get socially excluded from white power circles. That's still only modestly annoying. It's his phrase, ill-equipped to retrieve that history other than the television screen. That's really where I draw the line now. That's an insult to our scholars and all of us who read their works. Carter G. Woodson, John Henry Clark, exactly who is Obama talking about ill-equipped to retrieve history? Priscilla Dungy Houston? John G. Jackson? Cheikh Anta Diop? Come on. How we say it at Wosek? I will cultivate the ability to tell the real from the unreal. I will cultivate the ability to distinguish right from wrong.
Yeah.
I have faith in my ability to assimilate the truth. Okay, we're going to get right back to Obama's artful work of fiction. Rafiq was right when he insisted that deep down, all Blacks were potential nationalists. The anger was there, bottled up, and often turned inward. And as I thought about the teenagers calling each other nigger and worse, I wondered whether a Black politics that suppressed rage toward whites or failed to elevate race loyalty above all was a politics inadequate to the task. It was a painful thought to consider, as painful now as it had been years ago. It contradicted the morality my mother had taught me, a morality of subtle distinctions between individuals of goodwill and those who wished me ill, between active malice and ignorance or indifference. I had a personal stake in that moral framework. I discovered that I couldn't escape it if I tried. And yet perhaps it was a framework that Blacks in this country could no longer afford. Perhaps it weakened Black resolve, encouraged confusion within the ranks. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and for many Blacks, times were chronically desperate. Really? Wait a second, Wosay. So the problem is we're desperately resorting to skin color? Where was Obama during the Clarence Thomas hearings? If Obama didn't hear it from Sister Zora, he surely heard Reverend Al repeat, "All my skin folk ain't my kinfolk."
Oh, go ahead.
All right. Like a sculptor, Obama carves out an artful story. He cites discernment of good individuals from bad as superior wisdom from his elevated white mother, instead of lumping people together like us poor, misguided Black nationalists do. Again, he puts those crude race-based characterizations onto Rafiq, distancing himself from it to claim to calm down his potential white voters. In my final clip today from Obama's text, he writes, if nationalism could create a strong and effective insularity, if it could deliver on its promise of self-respect, then the hurt it might cause well-meaning whites or the inner turmoil caused people like me would be of little consequence. If nationalism could deliver. Really, Obama? Really? Well, we certainly can't hurt the feelings of well-meaning whites. That's just unthinkable. We'll say, let's take a quick look at the actual examples of African self-reliance. Very recently, like LeBron James stepping away from that witch with a camera and surrounding himself with an African team. Like Beyonce's mom and dad launching and guiding her career. Like Richard and Oracene Williams insisting Venus and Serena's early coach worked by their family plan. Like Motown hiring and grooming its own talent, spinning out its own records. Like Black Wall Street doing so well, it had to be bombed and burned. And very much like Tuskegee doing so well, its founder had to be reinvented in the public eye as a sellout and accommodationist. Pure white fabrication. It's hard to believe Obama was unaware of Africans' high actual discernment around skin color, including the vocal insistence on cultural nationalism by the US organization and many, many more. But his distortions seem clearly in service to his top mission, get elected. From the presidency, he did a few positive things in spite of a rabidly opposing Congress. He bailed out big business first, and he launched lots of new supports for small business. He took credit for Obamacare. There are many lists of his accomplishments online. There is also the bombing of Libya in support of global capitalism.
Well.
Hearing Obama decry nationalism, let's contrast that to what our scholars have said, what Du Bois said about our children in newly mixed schools, what Malcolm said about a fool letting his enemy teach his children. And you might ask, why are Obama's distortions even merit for our attention? And he's a politician, he's campaigning, or he was at that point. What is the point for Wose? That gets us right back to that first speaker at First Africa. Takes us back to our 10 virtues. We say, we will have faith in our ability to assimilate the truth. The truth is, the first African speaker was only authorized to speak by her community's prior charge. Though I heard her open comments on Sunday, at some quieter moment before, community leaders had requested her to speak. It's that quieter moment, which brings us back to the Hosea, reminding us, be not silent when it is your duty to speak. In our case, as we'll say, it is our duty to invite those in who understand the political context we're in, who understand the issues facing our people. Without such quiet initial requests, report sharing insights to our community just won't happen. Without the discernment of elders' deep experience, community discussion can tend toward repetition of ill-formed tropes, including the sophisticated kind of tropes delivered by politicians like Obama. For us, speaking doesn't mean a brief annual soundbite. It means ongoing communication, ongoing community thinking to control our thoughts and control our actions. We can't simply imagine that we know what young adult motivations and priorities are. We have to ask, And we have to ask frequently. Since asking widely is impractical for our small group, we need to ask our scholars and teachers who regularly study those motivations and priorities. In this, the Hosea informs us twice. Be not silent when it's your duty to speak, and gains do not endure when diligence is abandoned. Let us express our faith in our scholars, our leaders, and our teachers by diligently engaging, diligently connecting ourselves to them and them to us. That is our collective work and responsibility. Harambe, Harambe, Harambe! Minister Alicia.
Harambe.
Ashe, Harambe. Let's pull together. Thank you, Minister Bill, for that awesome message. Give us food for thought. And I never looked at it like I had no clue. So I thank you for that awesome information. And if you out there who was listening to Minister Bill had a light bulb above your head too as he was speaking, and you're not a member of Wose Community Church yet, oh my goodness, I want to say press the like button and subscribe. Excuse me. It would be really great if you decided at this time to join us, because you will hear so many things that may be new to your mind, and things that probably you either hadn't thought about or you hadn't heard of. It's so many new illuminations that come from just being here, let alone having the opportunity to work with and work for your community. And that's what we want to do here at Wose Community Church. We are a community. So we want to take our creative juices and offer them to our community so that it can be even that much more enriched. So at this time, if you are not a member of Wose Community Church and you desire to be one, raise a hand, turn on your mic and say, I want to be a member. And somebody will get a hold of you, and we will begin the process of having you be a full member of Wose Community Church. I am looking down, scrolling to see if I see any hands. And this is not the only way to become a member. If you, during the week, say, hey, you know what? Maybe I wasn't ready Sunday, but I've given a lot of thought and I want to be a member of Wose Community Church, just go right to our website and you can become a member on the website as well. All right. So not seeing any hands, we will move on to our Lift Every Voice and Sing. Baba Jeff.
Lift every voice and sing till earth heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies resound the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. March on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening gleam of a bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, Thou who hast by Thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met Thee. Lest our hearts, drunk of the wine of the world, we forget Thee. Shadow beneath Thy hand, may we forever stand. True to our God, true to our God, true to our native land, true to our native land.
Beautiful.
Ashe. That was beautiful. Minister Imhotep with the close and the wrap.
Oh, let's form a circle. And so I'll get in the circle. And now unto them who is able to lift us up faultlessly before the throne on high, may they empower us to be a people with one aim, one vision.
One vision.
You know what? Why don't you take yourselves off mute? Go ahead and take yourselves off mute. Let us all say this together. That our voices. Oh, and I dropped something in the chat about Bill. Somebody needs to put themselves on mute.
Take it off.
All right. I know I told you to take them off, but some of you need to take them. Okay, if I hear an echo, you need to get off. Okay, if you know you're echoing.
These little pieces do end up dropping out.
All right.
Okay.
Now to them who is able to lift us up faultlessly before the throne on high, may they empower us to be a people with one aim,
One aim.
one vision,
One vision.
one faith,
One faith.
one destiny,
One destiny.
one love,
One love.
one heart,
One heart.
one God.
One
God.
Let us call upon the name of that one God, as our ancestors and elders have done for countless generations, for time immemorial. Let us all say together. In tune, out of tune. You are the most
beautiful people.
Thanks,
Ashe.
Ashe.